All right, welcome to another Plays with Tech video. Today's topic, as you can probably tell, is PlayStation ending physical disc production in January of 2028 for all new games and new consoles. And also Rockstar adding insult to injury by claiming that the physical release of Grand Theft Auto 6 is just going to be an empty box with a download code inside them. Before I get into this, I want to make a quick disclaimer here. I'm not here to be a contrarian or try to make an edgy video essay. There are plenty of way more talented creators on YouTube for that. I'm here to try to give a measured take and how I deal with this whole situation and with gaming going forward. So, if I were running $1 billion corporation, such as Sony or PlayStation or Rockstar games, I would probably do the exact same thing. I would force people into my own digital walled garden where I get to dictate pricing completely and I get to cut out shipping logistics for millions and billions of game discs every year and manufacturing contracts, supplier contracts and all that. They get to save a ton of money and they get to dictate end gamer prices. So from a purely business perspective, it's the right thing to do. However, I'm not running $1 billion corporation. I don't run Rockstar, I don't run PlayStation, I don't run Sony. But I do work in corporate IT, and I do have experience, I do have background knowledge in how these decisions are made and why they're made. As a consumer, I can disagree and complain all I want, but these things are probably here to stay. Now, this might sound discouraging to some of you, but it's just the unfortunate reality that we have to kind of deal with here in 2026 and going forward. And but there are ways out of this. I'm going to show you how you can deal with this in your own way and save a lot of money and probably have more fun doing so. This is where these come in. As you can probably tell, these are PlayStation 3 consoles. Specifically, the first generation PS3 consoles, the fat versions as they're called. And this to me is the peak of modern console gaming, and this is also by far my favorite console generation next to the PlayStation 2. As a disclaimer, when these consoles came out in 2006, I was 12 years old, so you can probably piece together my age by now, and that in today's Gen Z and Gen Alpha dominated world, I'm probably ancient. But still, I'm here to give you my perspective and to explain to you the differences between these hardware generations and what to look out for if you're planning to build out your library. I own 5 PS3s in total. These are my 4 fat ones that I just collect more or less. And I also have a 5th one in the living room that I'm going to show you later. It's a slim model, and that's sort of my daily driver where I play on. You are looking at 20-year-old hardware, so do keep that in mind, especially if there are younger viewers here who are not familiar with PlayStation 3s or who were born in 2014 when the PlayStation 4 came out. You might think this is all just ancient, obsolete, fragile hardware. I'm here to tell you they're really not. I mean, PlayStation 3 is really easy as far as retro gaming goes. The consoles are generally robust, although these fat models are starting to get to an age where you are going to probably at some point experience some issues with the hardware. Notably, the power supplies run hot. Some of the capacitors like to blow up and causing the dreaded yellow light of death or red lights of death. Some of the BGAs below the chips, the GPUs and the CPUs, those like to crack over time, and then you're going to experience all kinds of issues. So with these fat consoles, oh, and also the thermal paste is now 20 plus years old, so it's probably all petrified by this point. So if you want to play these on these old original consoles, you have to probably restore them if you're going to use them every day. Otherwise, you're just going to, you know, abuse them and they're going to die prematurely on you. There are a few ways to do this. There are many console specialist repair shops who do this. They clean up your console, they replace thermal pastes, they check for capacitor damage, they can replace power supplies and do all that kind of stuff. But if you really, really, really want to play it safe and you want to invest in one of these consoles and really, really keep it in the long term, you're going to want to consider what's called the Frankenstein mod. And the Frankenstein mod, if you're not familiar with this, is you're taking the chips, notably the GPU and the CPU, so the cell and the RSX, out of a much later slim or super slim console, and you're soldering them to the motherboard of one of these fat ones. So that basically brings down the temperature, brings down the heat, reduces risks of failure, and you can enjoy these, if done right, you can enjoy these fat consoles for probably another decade or so at least. I collect these. I don't play on the fat ones anymore. I just put these in my shelf and I like to look at them because this to me represents the peak in home console gaming. If you just look at, we'll get to this guy later too, don't worry. If you look at this, this is probably my pride and joy. This is a 60 gigabyte original CECH 04 model with the chrome faceplate and the flip-up card reader that you got for Memory Stick Pro, SD, and compact flash. You can also recognize these very easily because they had 4 USB-A ports on the front, whereas the later revisions only had 2. Again, you see the chrome strip here. And the port selection was pretty much the same for all PS3s, all generations, both fat and slim and super slim. You got HDMI out, Ethernet, gigabit, digital optical audio out, and the old combo composite audio video out, and of course your power. Here you can see the serial number and the model number, so if you're ever unsure what you're looking at console wise, you can always check the sticker on the back here and you check the last, what are this, 7 digits. That's the model designation. And if you're ever unsure if a console has been opened before or not, you can check really easily here the warranty seal. This is a one-time use sticker, so if this ever was removed, it'll be destroyed or missing. As you can see, my example, the 60 gigabyte that I own, is an original untampered with console, which kind of makes me really proud, and it also scares the crap out of me. So that's why I stopped using this console. I want to keep this and preserve this. There are scratches on almost all of these. Well, not almost all of these. You're going to find scratches on every single fat PS3. That's just because this polycarbonate that they used for the case is really soft on the surface. So you're going to have scratches and marks and dings all over. It's just something that you can't avoid. These systems are 20 years old at this point. However, I have seen plenty of videos on YouTube. You can use some types of plastic polish. I've seen people use headlight restoration kits from cars on these, and car polishes as well, so with varying degrees of success. You can also upgrade the hard drives really easily. These originally shipped with 60, there were 20, 40, 60, and 80 gig models. I believe I have a 60 gig. No, this is an 80 gig here, the KO3, and this is the 60 gig. I also have a 40 gig and another 80 gig, I believe. But in any case, if you want to swap out the hard drive, it's really easily done. You just kind of pry this cover off with your fingernail. Here you can also see that the case material was translucent. And it's really easy. You release the blue screw. You slide this little tray out, and then it's just 4 screws holding in a 2.5 inch SATA hard drive or SSD. You can also upgrade these to an SSD. You're not gaining anything on loading times, so if you're hoping that your Gran Turismo 5 install is going to take a shorter amount of time, I have to disappoint you. It doesn't really matter that much. You will save some time on game installs, but in general, load times remain pretty slow compared to the hard drive. All right, I did say we're going to get to this guy and why this is so relevant, especially today. Grand Theft Auto 4, 2008. I was 13 years old when this came out. I had my grandparents buy this for me. They had no idea what they were buying and why they were buying it. It's obviously rated M or 18 plus here in Europe. And this is what they gave you back in the day. So you got a physical disc with the whole game on the disc. So this is not half the game or just a launcher that then, you know, sends you into a 150 gig downloader. No, on this Blu-ray, the entire game is on. And in addition to that, you got not only a game manual, which is the Liberty City Travel Guide, with sightseeing spots, some of the legendary ads here, and the controls, of course, and some cool screenshots as well of Liberty City. They also gave you a map of the city. This is something that you younger players don't even know because you download games from the PlayStation Store, or PS4 and PS5 games cases were usually just empty. It was just the disc and nothing else. But look at this. You could frame this. Hang this on your wall in your room, which I did back when I was a teenager. And this is also why this entire map is cinched into my brain to this day, and why I probably still know my way around Liberty City better than I do know my way around the city that I live in real life, which is tragic in its own way, but it just shows you how impactful this game was to me at the time. And it still remains one of my favorite games of all time. I have a very special spot in my heart for GTA 4. It was really, really good. One thing with these GTA maps, you got to be careful how you fold them, because you can destroy these really easily. As I am struggling, I got it. It's folded in a really weird pattern. All right. So this is the map and the manual. And this was, you know, a lot of games had, you know, cool additions like this. This was not the only game, but I picked this one out specially because it's Sony and Rockstar, ironically, ruining physical disc ownership. All right, so this is my collection as of July 2026. I showed you GTA 4, but we have a lot more cool stuff here. Quantum of Solace, Battlefield Bad Company, Blazing Angels, Burnout Paradise, one of my all-time favorite racing games, probably one of the best ones in my opinion. Of course, some of the GOAT Call of Duty games, Modern Warfare 4, wait, not Modern Warfare 4, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2. Used to religiously play these with my mates back in high school. I'm missing Black Ops 1, the original Black Ops, and my favorite Call of Duty game of them all, which is Black Ops 1. I'm still looking for that one to add to my collection. Some Colin McRae Dirt games, back when the Dirt series was still called Colin McRae, before they dropped his name. Devil May Cry HD Collection with the first 3 Devil May Cries. Very, very cool game. Very underrated in my opinion. Driver San Francisco, one of the greatest racing games of all time that is still stuck on the PS3. Far Cry 2, legendary game. This also should come with a map. Yes, I'm right. This also came with a map, as you can see. And a cool cover that you could flip with some additional artwork in here, which is also a thing of the past these days. You don't get any of this anymore. God of War 3, fantastic game. Now we get to the Gran Turismos, probably my favorite game series of all time, which is Gran Turismo. Both editions of GT5 Prologue, GT5, GT6. Another cool GTA game. Episodes from Liberty City. where you also got the travel guide, another map, which is the same map as in GTA 4. And this one even gave you another little booklet called Liberty City Underground, a special edition for the first year anniversary of Grand Theft Auto 4. Here you get some background to the stories of the episodes. You get more legendary ad work, and also, in case you ever wanted to find a song, you get the complete soundtrack listing from every radio station in the game. So you don't even need Shazam, or you don't even need Laszlo to tell you over the phone which song you were listening to in the radio. Killzone, of course, some of the greatest PlayStation games ever made. I'm missing the original one for PS2, but I do have 2 and 3. Lair, a very interesting game. I believe one of the launch titles for the PS3. Got pretty bad reviews. I don't mind it once you get, the hang of the 6-axis controls. LA Noire, Little Big Planet, another great exclusive on PS3. Midnight Club LA, also still stuck on this generation of consoles. Never got a re-release, never got a PC release. Mirror's Edge, very cool game. You can see how old this is, 2008. Damn, I'm getting old too. MotorStorm, Metal Gear Rising, Red Dead Redemption, of course. Resistance, also very, very underrated series made by Insomniac, the same guys who created Ratchet and Clank. So definitely pick that up. Yeah, UFC, Virtua Tennis, also very, very underrated. Street Fighter 4 Stuntman Ignition, very cool. This is getting a remake. I believe they announced this on the last days of play. And now, something very near and dear to my heart, the Legacy Collection of Metal Gear Solid, 1987 to 2012. A complete collection of all the Metal Gear Solid games released up until that point on PS3. And a pretty fancy art book with all the Yoji Shinkawa artworks, and the chronological history of, Metal Gear Solid. This is pretty cool stuff. I've seen people ask for ridiculous amounts of money for this Legacy Collection online. I bought this when it came out for, I believe it was 99 bucks here in Europe. Gran Turismo 5 Collector's Edition, also very cool. I also have the Signature Edition and a rare press kit, a European press kit. That's down in my basement. I don't have it here, unfortunately. Hitman Absolution, very cool game. If you like Hitman, if you like stealth games, definitely pick this up. This is the, what was this edition even called? Oh yeah, the Professional Edition, of course. Also came with an art book, really cool. And also one really special thing I kept, I bought this back when it came out in 2013, and before The Last of Us kind of went to crap later with 300 re-releases. This is the Joel edition of the game, and you got some really cool stuff with this as well. And I still kept this, I held on to this. I had a really big collection back when I was actively playing on these systems, but of course, being young and needing the money, I sold everything I had, and now at 30 years old, I'm slowly rebuilding because I realized what kind of a trap we're walking into with modern gaming. All right, I'm going to walk over to the living room and show you the PS3 in action. All right, now you join me in my living room in front of my 77-inch OLED TV. And this is not a flex, by the way, or anything. Don't get me wrong here, but I just want to show you, especially the younger players, some of them are scared about, technological limitations and, pixelated graphics or, issues with retro consoles and retro gaming, Because let's face it, these are retro consoles at this point. These have crossed the 20-year threshold. But tell me honestly, how good does this E92M3 still look? It still looks amazing. You're losing nothing. I mean, this is a great example of just how good PS3 games could look. There are also some terrible examples, of course, such as the game I showed you at the beginning, Grand Theft Auto 4, where the Xbox 360 version famously ran much smoother, much better, and had actually more graphical effects than the PS3 version. Also, I'm playing on a Slim. This is the PS3 Slim that I mentioned. This is my daily driver. This is where I play all the games on. I also have a PS5, not a PS5 Pro. I refuse to buy the Pro. This is enough. And a cool PlayStation Lite to set the mood. But these PS3 games still look amazing. I mean, if you look at Gran Turismo 5, Gran Turismo 6, Killzone 3, The Last of Us, you know, God of War, some of these titles that came out later in the life cycle of the PS3, they still look good to this day. I mean, you would not believe how good these games still look. And also modern TVs, they do a really freaking good job of upscaling this. This is a 1080p signal at 60 FPS. And these OLEDs are doing a really good job once they're calibrated. Yeah. Let me look at some of my Hondas here. I mean, this game still looks amazing. This is crazy to me how this is a 16-year-old game. This came out in 2010, this game. And the cars still today, to this day, these car models look better than some of the models they have in Forza Horizon 6. It's insane to me how detailed and how good these cars look. All right, so that brings me to the end of this little video and this little trip down memory lane. I hope I could encourage you a little to go and start your own PS3 collection, because keep in mind, the hardware is still cheap, games are still cheap and abundant. You don't have to worry about disc rot or scratches as much with these Blu-rays as you had to with PS1 and PS2 titles. So the games are robust, the hardware is generally robust. If you really want a good daily driver, look for a slim or a super slim model. They've usually had most of their issues sorted out. And if you want to collect them and put them away on a shelf, look for the fat consoles. And I haven't even got into one of the PS3's biggest assets that you can still do to it, also in regards to game preservation and all this stuff, and that is jailbreaking. You can jailbreak almost every PS3 console. I have actually a couple jailbroken ones, such as my 60 gig, but I'm probably going to undo that because I plan to keep that for posterity. But I'm going to drop a few links down in the description, some cool resources. There's an amazing fan community and a huge fan base out there regarding PlayStation 3. And if you're younger and you want to get into older types of games and some retro gaming, you want to dip your feet into the retro games category, definitely look into the PS3. Don't be afraid. As I said, consoles are cheap. Games are cheap. You got to watch out with the controllers. These are getting kind of rare and scarce. Original Sony controllers. There's a ton of fake controllers out there. Yeah, you can usually spot them by the wonky PlayStation buttons in the middle. Tell me down in the comments below, what is your favorite all-time PlayStation 3 games? I am looking to actively expand my collection. I'm looking for some of your hidden gems to add to my catalog, and I'm really looking forward to your responses. All right, thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your time, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.